So get this, Star Trek Discovery is all about Section 31. You'll find out how right after this. Hey everybody, I am Taylor from Beard vs. Geek, where I show you it is okay to be a man and a geek at the same time. Today we are in a hotel room because I am out of town for work, but I have just gotten through watching the first 4 episodes of Star Trek Discovery and have excluded myself from reading all sorts of different articles and watching all sorts of different YouTube videos about it. I wanted to create my own theories about it, my own thoughts, my own impressions about the videos, and not to, binge and take and sponge off of everyone else. But I think that a lot of people are forming this idea that Star Trek Discovery is all about Section 31. Now, in a previous video, I did a video about justifying Section 31, and I started to see 1 or 2 comments about people asking questions about Discovery, so I stopped reading any comments having to do with Star Trek. Section 31. So here's the theory. Section 31 is behind and is the sole purpose for Star Trek Discovery, or the USS Discovery. You see, we know, by the way, spoiler alerts, we know that from watching these episodes that the Discovery and its sister ship was created for the sole main purpose. This whole design was all about a potential new form of propulsion. And that form of propulsion will allow a ship to transport anywhere in the universe or in the galaxy because of these weird spore-like things floating around and stuff. However, when Michael was taking the tour of the ship, a few things slipped that indicate towards Section 31 involvement. One is the statement that this ship, or Discovery, can support hundreds of secret scientific missions. Hundreds of secret scientific missions. So, who does that kind of thing? Well, Starfleet does have its own scientific labs that are scattered out throughout the Alpha and Beta quadrants, and, they form things like the Jupiter station is like the quintessential, legitimate, scientific outpost. Section 31 likes doing the whole cloak and dagger thing. They like doing their own research that is beneath the radar of most Starfleet channels. And we do know, as precedents from Enterprise as well as Deep Space Nine, that Section 31 loves putting Starfleet as a front of their own activities. Now, I think at the very beginning of this, before Star Trek Discovery even came out, that Section 31, who was involved with the Klingons during the Enterprise, and with the Klingons' whole, going to look like us type of things, before Discovery came along and threw that out, but that's a different video. But anyway, Section 31 was already involved in the Klingons. They already knew about a potential Klingon threat, and you can bet your boots that Section 31 was already having plans in place for what to do in case of a massive Klingon war. That's kind of what they do. So naturally, Section 31 wanted to create a location where that they can do their own scientific research, where they can do their own control things, and have it be mobile, so that their technology or that their secrets cannot be compromised because they're constantly on the move. And what type of a vessel or what type of a location where you could do that? It's a starship. It's 2 starships. Because after all, you can't just have one fail. You need to have a backup in case one fails. And by the way, spoilers again, one does fail. So yes, the ship Discovery primary objective was to work on a new form of transportation, a new form of flight. However, having hundreds of scientific labs on it, Section 31 is going to want to have as many of those labs in operation as possible. First off, in episode 2 or episode 3, depending on if you include the pilot, it's 2 different episodes. I do. They're 2 different episodes. Anyway, episode 3, when you had the convicts first come on to Discovery, one of them comments about all of the silver shirts, all of the scientific people. He's never seen that many scientific people on one vessel before. And that is because you need as many scientific minds as possible working on all these different top secret projects. Now, Lieutenant Douchebag over here said that his project was co-opted by Starfleet. But naturally, Starfleet would not co-opt a person's research. Starfleet would contract that out with the person. Everything would be all nice and warm and fuzzy. Section 31, not so much. They are the whole cloak and dagger. They are, we will co-opt this for the greater good. That is their MO. Now, in order to run a starship with Section 31, you do not need to have everyone know it's Section 31. All you need is key personnel. And out of that key personnel, you would need two people in particular. One, the captain. The captain has to know, the captain has to be on board, and has to be heavily involved with Section 31. If the captain is going to overlook all of the Section 31 research being done on this vessel, they need to know what that research is, they need to spurn on the research as much as possible, and they need to know when to attack, when to retreat, and how important this research is. And they need to have that Section 31 mentality. Section 31 typically goes after people who have a certain moral ambiguity. People who know or love the Federation and who know that you need to survive. That is a key word, and that key word is used by the captain at least once in a big scene where they're walking down the corridor to one of the research labs where he's putting Michael at for weapons development, and he says that the Federation needs survivors. And that is very true. That is the whole reason why Section 31 was established, is order to ensure the survival of the Federation. Now, there are many other reasons why I believe that the captain is of Section 31. One, the whole mysteriousness of it. I mean, he mentioned his whole eyes thing, how he wanted to keep his whole eyes, so he has a light sensitivity to it. Says, I think it makes me look mysterious. This man has an attitude of a Sloan from DS9. This guy has the attitude of Malcolm Reed before he went on Enterprise. This guy has the same sort of personality as the leaders of Section 31. He understands that the Federation needs to survive, that the Federation cannot survive on its morals alone, and therefore he will do whatever it takes in order to ensure its survival. Those are key character traits that he uses. Plus, he tests people before bringing them on board. Before reading them into absolutely anything, he tests people. Plus, if you look at how Michael was brought on board the Discovery, he intercepted a prison transport after the pilot was killed, which did not make sense, because if the ship is going, if you look at that scene, the ship is going through warp, which means all of the energy and everything is going backwards. But yet when the pilot died, it went forward. It went past the ship, which means that the pilot didn't die on accident. If the pilot died on accident, it would have gone back while they're traveling in warp, not past them, going faster than they're going in warp. That does not make sense naturally. There would have to be some driving force going that way. And that would not have happened without some outside interference. Plus, Discovery was right on top of the prison transport. No distress call, nothing. They were obviously tracking it. They picked him up. He said to Michael, I read your file, and as soon as I saw you on the manifest, I read your file again. And I studied absolutely everything about you. I know you better than you know yourself. That takes time. So this guy knew about it. Orders had to be sent and intercepted, and all sorts of manipulation behind the scenes. And Starfleet doesn't do that. They are very open about their prison transfers. Section 31, not so open about it. So the captain has to be read in on it. Now, what other crew members have to be read in on it? Just the security officer. The head of security needs to be in Section 31's pockets. You can do a lot with a security officer. They found that out with Malcolm Reed in Enterprise. And with that, you don't even need the first officer. You just need the captain and the security officer. And with that, you need security personnel who are read into the Section 31. The whole black badges that they also pointed out in Episode 3, that they've never seen a black badge. Section 31 security. It has to be. They're the only ones who uses black badges ever. They are the only ones who have black uniforms. They are the only ones who operate outside of the law, and black is very symbolic of that. Now, the reason why the security officers need to be read into it, and because they need to know what they are protecting. They need to know whether or not they're guarding the outside of the door from people coming in, or they're guarding the outside of the door to prevent something from coming out. Okay, so they have to be on the payroll. They also have to have a sort of moral ambiguity to not be afraid to kill somebody who a regular Starfleet officer would not kill. They have to have that moral flexibility that the Federation and that Starfleet simply does not like, but Section 31 loves. Other than that, scientists don't need to know about it. First officer don't need to know about it. Pilot, anyone else don't need to know about it. As far as scientists go, you can say to the scientists, you can drop some Federation documents very easily. You know, the Federation wants to contract out your research, or in the case of Lieutenant Douchebag, the Federation wants to co-opt your research. We want to build it into Starship. We want to progress this. We want to fast track this as much as possible. But they don't need to know that there's a secret organization behind it or issuing those orders. They don't need to know that. They will be glad to have the resources be put behind their ideas, be put behind their projects, and to have as much resources as possible in order to play their scientific game and to progress multiple fronts of Section 31. Now, as far as what else is going on, that we do know from Star Trek canon that during the Klingon Wars that the Federation dabbled in cloaking technology. And we do know that as the Khitomer Accords, the end of the Klingon Wars, when they dropped those accords for peace, that the Federation was forbidden from developing cloaking technology again. And that came up later in the Next Generation in DS9. But that means that there had to be someone working during the Klingon Wars on cloaking technology, and I am willing to bet you dollars to donuts that on Discovery they are also working on cloaking technology. They know that part of the Klingon fleet has that, as read in the reports from the two-star battle, or the twin-star battle, whatever they're calling it, and therefore Section 31 will know and will want cloaking technology. And they even gave us a few clues. For example, in the time-lapse scene while Michael is working on the coding in the engine room, and you have people walk into the door, they walk by some type of weird node thing, and they slowly fade out, but yet they keep on rippling through. Okay, that's basically indicating that, yes, this could be something cloaking. This could be about going out of phase. Now, that might be a red herring, just to get us thinking about what is their main purpose on board that ship. But out of dozens, if not hundreds of scientific labs on Discovery, one of them at least needs to be working on cloaking technology. I do not know of why Starfleet, who up until this point is purely about exploration, it was purely about discovery and trade negotiations and connecting with different civilizations, that they are not warriors. They are not a military organization until the Klingon War, until the war with the Celiac in that same year. Then they have to change gears into being more militaristic. So therefore, they would not okay two ships to be all about scientific discovery and primarily geared toward what in case of a war. However, Section 31 is, and they have it within their power to issue orders as if they are Starfleet. That is seen in DS9 when they change Bashir stuff all around, where they give him orders as Starfleet, and then they reveal themselves to him and say, hey, actually, we're Section 31. We want to give you a sales pitch. Come on board. That is easy. It's child's play for them. To issue ships may be slightly harder. You have to read a couple people into it. You have to, be friendly with one or two admirals in order to get that okay and to get that funding and those resources there. It's possible. It's completely possible. The whole tone of Discovery is darker. There is that mysterious element to it. Just the beginning, they brand new ships, not a scuff on it. Why is it sitting? Why is it not at the front lines fighting Klingons? Because it has a higher purpose. It has that scientific aspect of it, of developing technology that could fight the Klingons. And what about past the Klingons? After that, 2 steps after the Klingons, what then? Section 31 is thinking 2, 5, 10, 20 moves ahead, as shown by Bashir in DS9. Of course, that is going to remain the same from that point back to its founding of Section 31. So I haven't read out all of the evidence in this couple of episodes. I just wanted to give you my initial thoughts on it. I know most likely there's a couple other people who have this idea. Let me know what you guys think about this in the section down below. And if you have more evidence to support this or evidence to go against it, I want to hear from you in the comment section down below. And if this is your first time here, go ahead and subscribe. Great videos are coming out every week where I show you it is okay to be a man and a geek at the same time. You can also click on this video right here for the justification of section 31, or this video for some more manliness and geekiness. Because after all, if the women don't find you manly, they should at least find you geeky. And until next time, don't go shaving on me.